Welcome back to the channel, my friends. Warhammer Man Studios. I'm Warhammer Man, and today we're taking a look at this week's pre-orders, and they are live. This video is sponsored by CMO Games. More on that later. Alright, so we've got this week's pre-orders, and they have just gone live. So right off the bat, we have the Gaunt's Ghost Print-on-Demand Collection, Book 4 through 7. So we have a little bundle if you want all 4 of those books, or you can purchase them individually. They are $30 a piece, so there's no actual savings if you want to grab all 4. But they are print on demand, so you will be guaranteed to be able to get one as long as you purchase it within that window date. So each of these will be available to order via print on demand until 8 a.m. BST on Monday, the 14th of August. So you basically have like a little more than a 2-week pre-order period to be able to get a hold of these. And those 4 books are first Honor Guard, then we have Guns of Tanith, then we have Straight Silver, and then finally Sabbath Martyr. And that is book 4 through 7 of the kind of Gaunt's Ghost saga. And then just kind of scrolling down here, we see the Crypt of Blood starter set. So I was very excited about this Crypt of Blood starter set initially, but the price on this is just completely wrong. I did jump over to the Games Workshop UK site, and just for reference, see how this is priced. So right now, the US dollar and the British pound, it's roughly like a 1.3 exchange ratio, which means $1.3 is equal to 1 pound, or 1 pound is equal to $1.3. So it's priced at $65 on their site, which would basically be like the equivalent of about $90. So there is an extra like $20 tacked onto this in addition to the exchange rate. That is pretty common for the UK. But for whatever reason, this price tag itself is just way too much for what's included in the set, in my opinion. So these starter sets typically are going to give you about 33 on the low end, up to like 50% on the higher end. Some of their like really good starter sets, you're going to get somewhere around like 75% savings. This one, when we total it up, there's very little actual savings in the set. So there's very little incentive for people to buy a starter set if you don't get a bunch of savings. So I think the main market for this starter set is people that are just looking for a single purchase for around $100 and to be able to start playing Warcry, which this definitely does. My main issue with it is there's just not enough value in this box set to make it incentivize people to buy. So here is our first Warband. This is not a complete Warcry Warband, so you're going to need to add in some additional models if you want to play a full true game of Warcry, but you do get 3 Stormcast Eternals and the bird. All 3 of these models are super cool. Definitely a big fan of the sculpts. The bird is cool as well, so I guess technically all 4. And this was originally an Underworld's Warband, came in an Underworld's box set, and could still be purchased for around like $35. Next we have the other Warband, and these are the vampires. Again, not a full Warband, so you're going to be short on your typical 1,000 points game. This is once again a Underworld's Warband. You're not going to get any of the cards or any of the cool stuff that came with it to play Underworlds. You're just going to get the models. And again, this set available for $35. So it's about $70 in miniatures. 2 $35 sets. It's 2 about roughly like half Warbands or so. You could add in anyone from Order to the Stormcast Eternals. So other Stormcast Eternals, Elves, Dwarves, etc. Or you could add anyone from the Death factions into your vampires. So you could put in like skeletons, zombies, ghouls, any kind of stuff like that. So it is cool that you can build on these warbands, fill them out to like your typical 1,000 point game and play. But it's very strange that you don't get full warbands in this starter set. It sort of feels like you're being robbed of like the other half of your warband, or like the other $25 for each warband in value. If we go over to the terrain next, I really like the style of the terrain. I'm a huge fan of the Garden of Moor stuff, and this is definitely like in the style. This is all unique, new pieces of terrain. But there's not really a ton here. There's basically like 2 small line of sight blocking walls. There's 2 just kind of like a little bit blocking but not blocking line of sight walls. And then you have this sort of coffin that doesn't really serve a lot of purpose. And then of course the statue as well, also not really serving a lot of purpose. So you basically have like some stuff to avoid, potentially like dangerous terrain. But realistically, you just have like 2 small little line of sight blocking pieces. So while this stuff does look cool, it's just very underwhelming. And if I had to assign a value to this, I would probably say it's worth somewhere around like 35 to $50. And that's like Games Workshop inflated prices. So then you're going to get the book as well. This has all your basic rules in it, all of the rules for like the 2 warbands and everything, just to kind of get you started. And then we have our little cards, 1 for each of the fighters to keep track of while you play the game. Here are for the vampires. And then of course we have the token sheet, which is nice as well. We do see that there's a measuring gauge built into this token sheet. Other than that, it appears to be pretty much the same as the new style token sheet. So there is a slight difference on this, but again, it's really just a ruler built into it. So when we really take a look at the actual components, we see there's basically 2 very small sprues of Stormcast Eternals, and that's your warband. And then there are 2 very small sprues of vampires. That's your other warband. And then you have 1 sprue of terrain. And then it's basically just the book and the token sheet. So there's not a lot in this set. And again, I don't have a huge problem with the actual set itself. It's 100% worth the price. This needed to be priced at like $99 in line with the Kill Team set, or even less than that, considering you don't get 2 full warbands. But for whatever reason, Games Workshop has completely missed the mark on this one. And it would just be another product in the line of failed Warcry releases. And if you don't think that Warcry releases have been failing, or you don't think that Games Workshop's approach on the game recently has been failing, you can just look at the entire season, and you can find most of those box sets, which retailed at about $185. You can find them online right now for around $120, which is actually below what Games Workshop would even allow you as a retailer to sell them for. So that tells you that the only reason they're even selling them for that price is just to liquidate them, just to get rid of them. They're basically selling them to break even or at a loss, which if there's a definition of a failed product, I would say that's it. So very unfortunate. I'm a huge fan of Warcry. I absolutely love the game, love the models, love everything about it. But Games Workshop has completely failed trying to go with like this cookie cutter style that has worked for like 40K and Kill Team. It just doesn't work for every game. So that's a big release this week, the Crypt of Blood starter set, and in my opinion, just a complete miss. We do see also 2 of the returning Warcry warbands showing up here, the Questor Soulsworn Stormcast Eternals and the Royal Beastflayers Flesheater Courts. $60 a piece for those warbands. They are all cool models for sure. But again, if you're interested in both these warbands, if you were thinking about picking them up, you can buy that brand new set with both these warbands, all the terrain, the books, everything in it, right now for about $130. So for $10 more, you can get a ton of stuff included. Now a quick message from today's sponsor. CMO Games has been selling Games Workshop products online for over 20 years. They carry the full line of Games Workshop products, including Warhammer 40,000, Age of Sigmar, Necromunda, Blood Bowl, paint tools, and more. Almost all Games Workshop products are priced at 15% off MSRP. CMO Games takes pre-orders for most Games Workshop products released at their earliest date possible. 12:01 a.m. on Saturday, they go live. Most of these pre-order products are also priced at 15% off MSRP. CMO Games offer free shipping in the US 48 with an order of $50 or more. Their customer service is top-notch and they ship most orders within 24 hours. Visit CMOGames.com using the affiliate link in the description and let them know that you heard about CMO Games from Warhammer Man. Now back to the video. And that rounds out our Warcry week, and then we have The End and the Death Volume 1. So this is the paperback version of the Horus Heresy Siege of Terra Book 8. The hardback version and the limited edition version sold out very, very quickly. There's definitely a possibility this one sells out. It's going to sell out eventually. It's just a matter of when. I think if you're after this book and you pick it up in the next day or so, you'll be fine. But after that, the price is going to jump up to like $50 or something like that as people resell them. But if you are interested in essentially what's happening on Terra and sort of like the end of the world as we know it, this is basically like book 8 in that series. But it's the first book in like the new kind of like section of that series that's taking place right on Terra and like the potential end of the Emperor and humanity. So I'm sure that's a cool book. I have not read the other ones leading up to it, but it is probably the most popular series from Games Workshop. Likely will be relisted for somewhere around like $50 or $60 later on. So if you are after this one, I wouldn't mess around. And then we got a couple of other just random Games Workshop products. They had the Merchoid Classic Codex cover desk mat, and then the Merchoid era Indominus desk mat as well. We got some leftover stuff from last week. The Harrowmaster in paperback. And then we see like the Necromunda Gang Tactics cards. Minkalesk still on that limited pre-order window. And then the rest of the stuff has sold out here. The core rulebook, definitely something that was underproduced. It should be returning back to the range for Necromunda as people are really excited for these and they were sold out instantly. Obviously, Games Workshop substantially underestimated the importance of being able to pick up a rulebook that included all the important rules for Necromunda. So definitely a little bit underwhelming this week. Definitely disappointed with the Crypt of Blood starter set. I really don't want to steer people away from Warcry because it is such a fun and cool game, but this product is just a complete mess. Games Workshop has definitely been getting a little bit out of hand with their pricing over the last couple years, But for me, this is where I draw the line. I would have definitely picked this up if it was a reasonable price. I like to build up the starter games and everything, have them painted and ready to go to introduce like new players and to be able to play through them. But at $110, this is just not worth it. I've seen the Warcry Heart of Gur starter set, which is like a full big box starter set loaded with terrain, 2 full warbands, nice Warcry dice, your cards, your rule book, your tokens, literally everything. And I've seen them from anywhere from like $130 to $160. And I definitely would just recommend people pay the extra like $20 to $50 and get that. Or even if you're going to pick up one of the recent expansions, it's going to be missing a couple of like the key components and everything, like the token sheet and like the core rules. But most of that stuff you can get for free. So let me know what you guys think down below. I've definitely leaned into my disappointment on the Warcry over this last week pretty hard, and I do apologize for that. But this is a product that I've been insisting Games Workshop needed to add for the range for about 2 years now, and they finally added it and somehow managed to completely miss the mark on this one. So definitely very disappointing. But as always, let me know what you think down below. Definitely like to hear back from you guys. Special thanks to CMO Games for sponsoring the video. If you want to pick up any of these new releases, check out the link in the description to save 15%. That's it for today. Warhammer Man Studios. I'm Warhammer Man, and I'm out of here.